How to file bankruptcy and keep your home. Hey everyone, I'm Rinde Adebayo, digital entrepreneur, real estate entrepreneur, coming to you with another video, and welcome to Ask Rinde. If it's your first time at the channel, please hit the subscribe button and smash the like button. I release content and videos all the time regarding distressed properties and how to get yourself out of a situation from a dilemma to success. So please stay tuned. So hey everyone, welcome back. So today I like to talk about bankruptcy and how to file bankruptcy. In the US, there are two types of personal bankruptcy. There's a Chapter 13 and a Chapter 7. I like to talk about each one and share a few tips on each one and what to do and how they're used in order to actually solve your dilemma and your issue, depending on what you're looking to try to do. But before then, I like to talk about what causes a person to want to file bankruptcy. So why would a person file bankruptcy? Well, it could be a job loss. It could be a death in the family. It could be a divorce. And it could be where they were victimized, regarding their properties, such as equity stripping. There are a lot of people that I've come across that have been victims and have had advantage taken of them where they didn't know of certain things. And so sometimes you'll have a situation where people come and they know that you're in a dilemma and they'll say, well, sign the deed over to me. And, you'll sign the deed over to them and they'll tell you they'll make the payments, and then they never make the payments, and then you still end up even in a worse situation. So you definitely want to be obviously careful. And that's why I believe that that's probably one of the reasons why you may be watching this video, because there's never a short of a need for quality representation when it comes to these type of things. I always say to people, you can open up the directory in the phone book. You can find a hospital, find a doctor, you can find a mechanic. You can find so many other things. When it comes to dealing with probably people's biggest asset, it's very difficult to find quality representation. And again, I know that a lot of people feel like you just call an attorney and it deals with it, but that's not the case, which I'm going to share a few things in this video regarding that. So let's jump into what's the first bankruptcy I like to talk about, and that's the Chapter 13. The Chapter 13 I like to call delayed foreclosure, and that is because it really just kind of delays the process. The Chapter 13 is a repayment plan where you actually file and you're actually going to go into a repayment plan where, let's say, for example, your mortgage was $1,500 a month. Well, when you go into the Chapter 13, you're entering into an agreement through the trustee with the creditor to be able to repay the loan and become current, because you had an arrearages, and what they're doing is agreeing within the 13 to be able to allow you to retain the asset. Okay, you're under protection, so any foreclosure proceedings will stop as long as you're in that agreement and that you're moving forward within the agreement. So if you have a $1,500 a month mortgage payment before you file the bankruptcy, well, your payment when you file the bankruptcy at Chapter 13 will be more, because what happens basically is that they'll take your monthly payment, which you actually have agreed to, and when you got your mortgage and you sign your note, this is what you agreed to pay. But let's say, for example, you fell behind 2 to 3 years. Well, those 2 to 3 years, that money, those arrearages will then be taken by the trustee and looked at. And then what they will do is they will come up with a payment arrangement or payment plan, a percentage, and then they will add that on top of the $1,500. So you'll be paying $1,500 plus you'll be repaying the arrearages. And the maximum repayment plan for bankruptcy Chapter 13 would be between 3 to 5 years. So you can expect that if it depends on how much of a deficit you have as far as how much you owe, the more you owe, the more your payment is going to be. The trustee has to do that because in order for them to enter into an agreement and negotiate or be the intermediary between you and the creditor, this is what is the agreed terms will have to be. This is just part of it. That's how it is for everyone. And so what will happen is you can expect that if you're going to file a Chapter 13, you will have the original mortgage payment plus you'll be paying a payment for the arrearages, which goes to the trustee. So many times, people have to go in when you're going in for 13, you're fighting to keep the property, and you know that that's going to be the mechanisms that you want to use. You want to make sure that you're financially sound and ready to actually pay more than what you were paying before. I think that this has become such a pronounced need that I'm going to be doing a webinar regarding mastering finances and specifically dealing with when you're in a situation in a jam when it comes to your home or life, how to actually begin to earn more income to get out. Because what happens basically is that when you go for your any of these bankruptcy plans, they're going to ask for financials, just like you would if you submitted for a loan modification. They're going to look at your snapshot and they're going to decide what realistically can be done. Except that with a 13, you're entering, you're committing to say, look, I know I need a reset. I know I need to stop whatever it is that's happening so I can keep my home. So I'm saying that I'm going to pay you this, and I'm going to I'm going to commit and go through with this. And they're going to be expecting to commit and go through with that. So I've found over the years that many people have made those motions to be able to get a 13, but then what happens basically is that if you do not go through with the 13 and you do not keep the payments, they will dismiss. The bank will make a motion to ask the trustee to dismiss the case. And the minute that happens, then they're going to actually set a sale date, foreclosure date. And that's why I called it a delayed foreclosure. So many times, you want to be able to be educated before you go in so you'll know your options, you'll know realistically what to expect. Sometimes people use the bankruptcy or the Chapter 13 as a delay tactic, but if you're dealing with a foreclosure here in New Jersey, it's probably going to just delay you about 2 months or so. It just pushes it down the line again. And then the second bankruptcy would be the Chapter 7. Now, the Chapter 7 is a liquidation, and that is basically where you say that, okay, I will go ahead and file, and I would like for you to just wipe out everything. So the trustee, then you still go through the same process. You have to actually do a course, and you have to make your a payment if you're going to pay an attorney or you're going to do it yourself, which I will touch on next. Then after you file the Chapter 7, then you're going to have a hearing date with the trustee. And that hearing date comes with the trustee. The trustee then will decide if you have assets such as a house. They will decide what they're going to do with their interest in that property. You've turned it over to them. There's a creditor and a debtor on the other side. They need to be able to divest all your assets. That's why they ask for things such as how much do you have in your checking account? How much do you have in your savings account? What assets do you have aside from the house? Because let's say, for example, your house is, and there are different scenarios. Let's say, for example, your house is underwater. You owe more on the house than what it's worth. That is a big deal because when you go to the trustee, there's going to be a different take from the trustee on that particular situation versus, let's say, if you walked into a hearing and you filed the Chapter 7 and you had equity in your property. There are two different things that the trustee will do. And if you'd like to find those details out, you can definitely reach out to me. I will share, our experience with that and how to negotiate with the trustee on that end. Again, I shared before about quality representation. People have scoured the internet looking for, basically solutions. And you probably watch 100 videos on YouTube and elsewhere. Who do you trust? Who do you go to? Who do you turn to in these type of situations? I find it mind-boggling. That's one of the reasons why I established this network, because I found that there was such a need, and this is our greatest asset. All of us, you, myself, everyone, all of us, our homes and our real estate is the most important thing that we can. It's not a car. It's not anything, it's our greatest possession that we have. And I found that there's not a lot of quality representation and real, truthful, and honest people that are in this. So there goes the dilemma or the question. Do I need an attorney to file? Generally, when you are in a situation of foreclosure or short sale of distress, you will get correspondence and solicitation from attorneys. They are promising that they're going to either do a loan modification for you or file bankruptcy. And in essence, what happens basically is that the attorneys just insert themselves to be able to profit. I'm not saying that there are not honest attorneys out there. There are. I have attorneys that work with me. But what happens is that you want to be able to weigh and look at all your options and get a proper consultation before just jumping into a bankruptcy. We've had people who have come to us that did not necessarily have to have filed a bankruptcy at the time that they did. We've also had people who have filed bankruptcy, paid an attorney $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 and lost the home. So where's the in between? What works? You think that you turn into an attorney and then you snap your finger, the attorney makes everything go away, and that's not necessarily the case. You really need to have a head on your shoulder and really need to have strategy going in and weigh your options. I share this with people. You can file bankruptcy on your own. You don't necessarily need to have an attorney file a bankruptcy. But the thing is that 99% of pro se filings do not make it through. They do not get executed and do not actually fully get absorbed by the trustee because of lack of structure. People have to know how to actually package the bankruptcy in order to be able to submit it for the trustee to absorb it. Secondly, also is that you really need to make sure that you know exactly what your plan would be, because especially with a 13, you're submitting a financial plan and a schedule to the trustee to say, I understand that I've had debt, I understand that I need to file, but this is what my schedule of payments will be, this is what I plan to do, this is what I need to do, and on this date I will give this amount, and on this date I will give this amount. You need to be going in to see the trustee and filing your bankruptcy with that in mind. So a lot of people, when they go to file, they're not prepared for that. Again, you have to really have a tight lid on your financial situation once you hit a problem. I know it may seem kind of crazy, but it's kind of like you have to turn things around and look at things realistically. I run into a situation where I am now a few months behind on my home. I want to keep my house, but let's look at my financial situation. What can I do in this situation? This is how much I make. This is what my expenses are. Where can I cut back? What can I do? Or if you're in a place where you've lost your income, then you have to actually look at the options of, okay, then this situation, I've lost my income. This bank wants me to make this payment. All right, well, I'm trying to find income to replace that. So how long do I need? These are the things that, because even if you go and file a bankruptcy and you don't have a job, you don't have income, how are you going to make the payment? Especially at 13. Even if you're filing a 7, if you want to file on your own, we have a resource link which I will actually have for you if you reach out to me. My email address is asreadynow@gmail.com. If you're in New Jersey, we'll send you the link on how to file bankruptcy on your own. You don't necessarily need an attorney for that. Now it brings me to my next point. What is the timeline? How much lead time do you give yourself? Let's say, for example, you have a pending situation with a foreclosure. When do you wait to file a bankruptcy to save the home? That's a big question. And that is something that is a strategy question. And all strategy questions, I do not like giving blanket or broad answers, specifically on my social platforms, specifically because these things are all niche. These are one-on-one things. These are situation based. It's not a broad answer. Yes, the solution may be something that is universal, so to speak, but at the end of the day, also, the strategy is the most important thing of how you win and lose when it comes to saving your home and keeping your home. The next thing is that, do I hire an attorney? What attorney do I hire? And how much should they charge? This is something that I get all the time. People ask, man, I've had different stories where I've had attorneys that are basic and they are reasonable, and then there are those attorneys that are completely exorbitant and they do the same thing. They're just going to do a filing on your behalf, especially with a 13. They're going to submit it to a loss mitigation program. See, the difference basically between when you're in a bankruptcy and when you're trying to do things outside of the bankruptcy, there are differences in things that you can get done, and mostly it's oversight. In a situation where you're under bankruptcy, you have oversight from the trustee to basically say that if you send documentation into the lender is not coming back and lying like they've been doing for a long time to say, well, I never got this. You send in your September bank statement, you send in your October bank statement, I never received it. The trustee is going to see because there's a portal and everything is scanned through, and they're able to see, no, this is what they sent in, this is the time they sent it in, we got to scan a copy of it. So there's some more accountability there, and that kind of further insulates you from just the absolute nonsense that the banks do generally 9 times out of 10. But what I wanted to share with this is that when it comes to the attorneys, you have to actually make educated decisions. I always recommend people choose 5, go through 5, get through 5 options. I know I generally, general rule is 3, for everything, whether you're looking for, a plumber or electrician or whatever, you talk to 3 people. But with attorneys, I say 5. And you'll be able to come up with an average. Once you speak to 5, you'll be able to come up with an average of what what the charge should be. And I would always recommend too that you negotiate that as well. I cannot speak for the entire country. I can only speak for New Jersey. We have people, a team of attorneys that work for us here. If you're in New Jersey and you want to file, and I can refer you to those people. I know those people that are vetted. We have worked with them. We trust them. And we recently had a homeowner that was facing a sheriff sale and basically had done things and maneuvered and done things pretty much on their own. They knew about our company and helping, but they decided to do it on their own. So there was a sale date set, and I get a phone call, and it was the day before. So they had done everything up until on their own, and they went to see the judge, and the judge denied them. The judge said, no, I'm going to let the sale go through tomorrow. So long story short, they called us, and we put them in touch with an attorney on our team that basically was able to do an emergency motion and save that house within hours of the sheriff's sale. So what happens basically is that there is a value out there when it comes to attorneys, but attorneys are not going to give you the money to make your payment. You have to be well educated all around, know what you're dealing with when you go into it. If you'd like to get more information regarding bankruptcy and the ins and outs, the pros and cons, please email me asrindenow@gmail.com. Phone number is 201-855-7575. That's 201-855-7575. I think I'm going to be doing a webinar regarding, just basically, I want to say, I don't know what I'm going to name it yet, but I want to try to have form something that we can do to be able to share information to help each other when it comes to coming out of places of lack. Because I find that all of us at some point in life have gone through a situation or a season where we lost a job, we lost a business, industry went bad, there was a death in the family. I deal a lot with probate situations, and you'll be surprised. I mean, there are people who are saddled and left with these properties that the person that was the deceased, didn't have, their financial structure in place. So just imagine, someone's, parent passes, leaves a home. They have their family, their own obligations. They have to carry that property because guess what? The water's going to get shut off. The electric's going to get shut off. The bills don't stop on that property just because, the person is unfortunately passed. So there are a lot of different scenarios and situations out there, but we want to just try to basically give resources and kind of like put something together on our network to be able to help people get over, into the next level, give you ideas, maybe tips on what you can do to turn your income and jump your income into a position that you can keep the home and move forward. And so, of course, if you like to actually, maybe sell the property and you feel like you're done with it, you're tired and you want to just move on, we can help you with that as well. So look forward to, sharing more with you all. My website is asrinde.com. And please give us a call, share with us your details, and we'll do our best to actually make sure we facilitate you onto a right and successful path. Till next time, thank you for watching.